What would you do if the person you trusted most in the world was a better liar than you ever imagined? It was 2:17 a.m., and the only light in our Chicago brownstone was the cold blue glow of my wife's phone, face down on her nightstand. She was asleep, breathing softly, the picture of innocence. But a single saved screenshot ID found buried in a hidden folder on our shared cloud account told a different story. It was a conversation she swore never happened with a man she swore was just a friend. The message wasn't just a flirtation. It was a memory, a shared secret that burned a hole right through the center of our 10-year marriage. I stood there, the silence of the room screaming louder than any argument we'd ever had, realizing my entire life was a carefully constructed lie. And in that moment, I knew that simply leaving wasn't enough. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The strange behavior had started subtly. Sarah, my wife, began guarding her phone like it was a state secret. She'd take calls in the other room, her voice dropping to a murmur. When I'd walk in, she'd hang up abruptly. Just a work thing, she'd say, her smile never quite reaching her eyes. Then came the late nights at the office, the receipts from restaurants I'd never been to tucked away in her purse. I found one from a table for two at Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse on Rush Street, dated on a night she was supposedly working on a deadline. When I asked her about it, her face went cold. "Are you checking up on me? I took a client out." My God, you've gotten so insecure. She was a master of deflection, turning my legitimate concerns into accusations of paranoia. The woman I loved, the one who used to share every detail of her day, was now a stranger living in my house, her life a fortress I was no longer allowed to enter. The villains, her and this man, whose name I soon learned was Mark, felt untouchable. They'd text each other from a shared album on their phones, posting pictures with captions that looked innocent but were inside jokes from their time together. They were arrogant, flaunting their affair right under my nose because they thought I was too stupid or too weak to see it. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday. I came home early, hoping to surprise her, and found our bed unmade, the sheets smelling of a cologne that wasn't mine. It was a cheap, musky scent that clung to the pillows. That was it. The carefully controlled dam I'd built inside my chest shattered. I collapsed onto the floor of our bedroom, the one we'd painted together, and just sobbed. It was a raw, guttural sound of a man whose world had just ended. The humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down on me, stealing the air from my lungs. For 10 years I had been loyal, devoted. I installed recovery software on our home computer, pulling deleted files from the digital graveyard of our shared cloud. I found everything. Screenshots of their conversations, hotel bookings at the Peninsula on Superior Street, even photos. Photos of them laughing in a booth at a diner, his arm draped casually around her. Photos of them kissing, the city lights of the Magnificent Mile twinkling behind them. Each image was a fresh stab to the heart, but I saved every single one to a secure, encrypted hard drive. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who documented their every move for 3 weeks. He gave me a folder thick with glossy 8x10s of them holding hands, entering Mark's apartment in Lincoln Park, and sharing intimate dinners. I also started moving assets. I opened a new bank account in my name only and began quietly transferring funds. I contacted a shark of a divorce attorney, a woman known for leaving her opponents with nothing but the clothes on their backs. I laid out the entire story for her, presenting the mountain of evidence. Her eyes gleamed. "She won't see this coming," she promised. The trap was set. Sarah's parents were celebrating their 40th anniversary with a huge party at a lavish ballroom downtown. Her entire family, all her friends, her boss, and her colleagues would be there. It was the perfect stage. Mark, her smug affair partner, was also on the guest list, invited as a family friend. They thought they were so clever. The day of the party, I was a ghost. I smiled. I made small talk. I played the part of the doting husband. Sarah was radiant in a new dress, oblivious. During the toasts, her father stood up, his voice thick with emotion as he talked about love, trust, and the sanctity of marriage. That was my cue. As he finished, I walked to the podium, a microphone in my hand. "I'd also like to say a few words," I began, my voice steady. A hush fell over the room. I looked directly at Sarah, her smile faltering for the first time. Then, the two massive projector screens on either side of the stage, which had been showing a slideshow of her parents, flickered to life. The first image was a screenshot of a text from Mark. "Can T stop thinking about last night?" The room gasped. The next image was a photo of them kissing outside the hotel, then another and another. A highlight reel of their betrayal playing out for 200 people to see. Sarah's face drained of all color. Her father looked like he'd been struck. Mark was frozen, a deer in the headlights. I let the images linger for a full minute before speaking again. "I believe these belong to my wife, Sarah, and her colleague, Mark. As for the sanctity of marriage, you'll all be receiving a copy of my divorce filing, which details every one of these encounters. Happy anniversary." I placed the microphone down, the feedback screeching through the silent ballroom, and walked out without looking back. The aftermath was brutal. Sarah was fired from her job for unprofessional conduct. Her family, deeply religious and traditional, disowned her. She was a social pariah. In the divorce settlement, thanks to the ironclad evidence and the morality clause in our prenup, she got nothing. The house was mine. The savings were mine. She was left with her car, her clothes, and the public shame that now followed her everywhere. The last I heard, she was working as a waitress in a diner out in the suburbs, living in a small, rented apartment. The arrogant, untouchable woman was gone, replaced by a hollowed-out shell. I never saw her again. Sometimes, late at night, I sit in the quiet of this big, empty house and think about that night. The night the man I used to be died. The house is clean now, but sometimes I can still smell the faint scent of his cologne. The end.